close reader looking at the text How a Mountain Changes on page 16. Let's go ahead and grab your close reader, turn to page 16, and have a writing utensil ready so that we can do some annotating as we listen to How a Mountain Changes.
Shared reads 3 and 4. Remember to annotate as you read.
How a mountain changes. You can tell if a mountain is young or old by looking at it. A young mountain has sharp, craggy peaks. An older mountain is more rounded because it has weathered longer. As centuries pass, wind blows away more and more of the mountain. Rains carry debris down the mountainside, wearing away ever more soil and rock. Over time, wind and rain are like carvers changing a mountain's size and shape.
Okay, so we can underline our key details here about how a mountain changes, and since our title is kind of like a question, we're going to look for the answer to that. So how does a mountain change? Well, an older mountain is more rounded because it has weathered longer, right? So it's going to change into more rounded peaks. So do you see how this one is kind of jagged and pointy, whereas this one is more rounded and smooth? And that's because the wind blows away more and more of the mountain, and then the rains carry the debris down the mountain, and as the water is carrying those little pieces of rock and sand down, it's also smoothing out the sides of the mountain. And so it says wind and rain are like carvers. So that's kind of how the answer to that, how a mountain changes, is through, we would call that erosion, right? Because the wind and the water are affecting the shape of the mountains. I do want to look at a couple of things here. One thing is cause and effect. We've talked a little bit about this, but we have in paragraph 2, the effect is that the mountain's size and shape changes, and the cause is that wind and rain are carving it out, right? So wind and rain, the cause, change a mountain size and shape. That's the effect there. I'd also like for us to look at some words that have ER endings. Let me grab a different pen here. So let's look through, see if you can find a word that ends with an ER. We've got older. Did you find that one? Okay, and we also have longer, all in the same sentence here. Okay, older and longer. So we can find the root word in these two words. The first one would be old, and then they've added The second one is long, and again added That usually is on there to compare two nouns between each other. So in this case, older, that means that one is going to be more old than the other. And same thing with longer. One is going to be long and one is going to be shorter, right? So that's our comparison there. So that ER ending is often on there to compare two different nouns. So you are going to go in and answer some questions about how a mountain changes, and then upload that to schoolwork when you're done.